With the transition from a newspaper, which we were previously, to a magazine this year, we don't have as much space for editorial content, and so, for example, if you do like a really long 800-word, multiple excessive word count article, it's really difficult to place inside the magazine, and so that puts more of I guess an emphasis on our online website because there's, of course, unlimited space. So that's the big downside that I've seen. Another downside is we can't do as much breaking news with the magazine because it only comes out once a month, and most stuff that's breaking news is not time significant anymore after a month. So those are the two big downsides. There's still stress with the magazine, but it's a different kind of stress. It's more prolonged. It's more of an agonizing stress. With the newspaper stress, it was kind of like a drug, very quick, and it's hard to describe, but it was a faster stress, and I kind of like that. So yeah, that's the one thing I miss, strangely. There is a lot of backlash from previous editors who are in favor of the newspaper format. In terms of readership, I would say it's hard to track readership of the magazine, but I guess just the backlash from previous editors and people who are in favor of more watchdog journalism. Definitely some backlash, but we, can't please everybody, so.
I think it's a good transition. I'm excited for it. I've read a couple of the Encores, and I think they're going in the right direction. They just need time to develop the magazine, I guess. And I think it's also important to remember, too, that the Roundup is still online, so you can go online, I believe, to get weekly stories. But I think a magazine will provide a more in-depth coverage, so they'll get a lot more details of what's going on. I think that everything will still be the same. In the magazine, I hope will try to get those hard-hitting stories, but they'll also try to include things that you can't normally put in a newspaper, like maybe like a cooking section. I noticed there was one in this week that you can't normally put into a weekly newspaper.
Well, I'd rather read a magazine than a newspaper. This, to me, is more like appealing. I'd rather read this, I guess, than a magazine article or a newspaper article.
It's very sensational. It's very colorful, and it catches my attention when I see pictures in color inside a magazine, and rather than a newspaper. It's more, catching in my eye, and the food part. It gives me a better idea of what's going on around the school campus, and it just catches my eye when I see it more than the dry paper.